You think you can just walk away? No, go, you're hurting me! Not until you admit it!
A Ghost Story, Part 6. Godwin's hands were tightly locked around Kane's neck. Kane struggled desperately, gasping for air as the other student doctors and nurses rushed forward. Godwin, stop. Let him go. You're killing him. Two nurses grabbed Godwin's arms. Another doctor tried to pull his fingers loose. But strangely, no one could remove his grip. It was as if his hands had been frozen in place by an unseen force. Kane's face began turning pale. His strength was fading quickly. Just when it seemed he would collapse. Suddenly a thick black shadow mixed with red smoke burst out of Godwin's body. The smoke twisted in the air like a living thing. At that exact moment Godwin's hands released Kane. Godwin's body dropped heavily to the ground. Lifeless. Everyone froze in shock. Kane stumbled backwards, holding his neck and coughing heavily. He looked down at Godwin lying motionless on the floor. What just happened?" he whispered. None of them had an answer. Later that day Godwin slowly regained consciousness in the hospital ward. He looked confused as the nurses checked his pulse. One of the female student nurses who had witnessed the incident stood beside him. "Godwin," she said carefully, "do you remember what happened earlier?" Godwin shook his head slowly. "No, what happened?" The nurse hesitated before explaining. "You attacked Kane. You grabbed his neck and almost strangled him." Godwin's eyes widened in disbelief. "That's impossible. I would never do that. I don't even remember touching him." But the nurse nodded. "Everyone saw it. You suddenly became violent, like you were not yourself." Godwin remained silent. Inside his mind something felt wrong. Very wrong. That evening Godwin returned to the student lodge. His head was still heavy with confusion. He walked slowly into his room and opened his bag to take out the little money he had saved for food. But when he opened the bag, he froze. Inside the bag was a check. A check worth over $200 million. Godwin stared at it in disbelief. His hands trembled as he picked it up. This must be a mistake. But what terrified him the most was the name written on the check. The name looked exactly like the man he had seen in the hospital room that night. The same man the doctors had said was dead and buried many years ago. Godwin felt a cold chill run through his body. "How can this be possible?" he whispered. The next morning Godwin returned to the hospital, determined to find answers. He walked straight to the office of the head doctor and knocked politely. "Come in," the doctor said. Godwin stepped inside nervously. "Doctor, I want to ask you something." The doctor looked at him curiously. "What is it, Godwin?" "It's about the man you said died in that private ward years ago." The doctor leaned back in his chair. "What about him?" Godwin hesitated before asking. "I want to know his name, his full name." The doctor looked surprised. "Why do you ask?" Godwin forced a small smile. "I'm just curious about something. I want to be sure." The doctor thought for a moment before answering. "His name was Chief Nicholas Marquis." The moment Godwin heard the name his heart skipped violently. "No. That can't be possible," he whispered. The doctor frowned. "Godwin, what do you mean it's not possible?" "That was his name. Everyone in this city knows it." "Is something wrong?" Godwin quickly shook his head. "Nothing, sir, it's nothing." But his voice sounded weak. He quickly excused himself and hurried out of the office. Godwin ran all the way back to the lodge. He rushed into his room and pulled the check out of his bag again. His hands trembled as he looked at the name printed clearly on the check. Douglas Marquis. The same surname. The same family. Godwin's heart raced. "How did this get into my bag?" he whispered. "And why is this name here?" Fear gripped him for the rest of the day. He could not concentrate. He could not eat. He could not talk to anyone. And he dared not tell anyone what he had seen. Because everyone already believed something was wrong with him. That night, when Godwin finally fell asleep, the nightmare began. He found himself running through a dark, empty place. Fog covered the ground. Behind him, the same old man's voice echoed through the darkness. Godwin ran faster. But no matter where he ran, the man always appeared in front of him. Godwin, you cannot run from your shadow. Godwin turned in fear. The old man stood there again, his eyes glowing. I told you, this body will belong to me. Godwin shouted back. I will never give it to you. The man laughed slowly. You already carry my mark. You carry my wealth. You carry my name. This world will soon recognize you as my vessel. Godwin shook his head. I reject you. You have no authority over my life. But the old man's voice grew darker. I give you 3 days. Cash that check. Begin living the life I desire this body to live. Power, wealth, influence. Everything that belonged to me will now belong to you. Then the spirit's voice became colder. But if you refuse, you will sleep one night. And you will never wake up again. The spirit slowly faded into the darkness. Godwin suddenly woke up from the dream. His heart pounding violently. His body covered in sweat. And the terrifying words of the spirit still echoed in his ears. You cannot run from your shadow. To be continued.
Stay away from me! No!